Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you guys for joining. We'll be doing a Hidden Gems AI edition. This is a series we actually focus on the hidden AI tools that nobody talks about. Hey Rita, thanks for joining.
It's a great little segment that we have, Junior, because for many people, it's the first time they've seen these tools.
Yep, you're absolutely right, yeah, Johnny.
Remember the first time you saw ChatGPT?
Yeah,
That's what this show is going to be like.
exactly.
I have a question for you guys about ChatGPT. I heard a lot of people are uninstalling it.
Yeah, the fallout is happening. We can talk about it post show, or you can ask a question in the question and answer section. Let's talk about it. Ask your question in the chat and we'll talk about it.
Okay.
Welcome to Season 10 of Airhead Institute, your 45-minute AI power-up at noon Eastern. This month, we are broadcasting live across all the socials and Zoom. If you're new here, join our free AI community to grow alongside other curious minds and give your kids a head start by enrolling them in the Airhead After School program. Here's March's weekly lineup. Mondays, we take the training wheels off securely in the Open Claw Bootcamp. Tuesdays, we explore bleeding-edge tools from Google Labs in Gemini Hidden AI apps. Wednesdays, we equip the next generation in AI Gateway to College. Thursdays, we uncover productivity and marketing tools in Hidden AI Gems, Starters. Fridays, we explore human purpose in an automated society in Humanity 2.0, No Jobs Edition. We're making AI practical, powerful, and accessible for everyone. No tech background? No problem. Whether you're a student, professional, or lifelong learner, just show up. Guided by your hosts, AI Junior and AI Johnny, we're keeping it bold, brainy, and built for real-world impact. AI won't take your job, but someone who knows how to use AI will. Don't get left behind.
Hey everyone, welcome to Season 10 of Airhead Institute. Episode 1 of our Thursday series, Hidden AI Gems, is back for another season. Thanks to all of you who asked for more. If you've ever wasted time turning notes or bullets into diagrams, flowcharts, or infographics, get ready for some magic. We're kicking off with a fantastic hidden gem called Napkin.ai. Super simple. Copy and paste your text, bullet points, ideas, or notes, and in seconds, Napkin.ai turns it into awesome visuals like mind maps, flowcharts, diagrams, or infographics. No drawing, no complicated steps, no art skills needed. Perfect for me since my lines still look like wiggly worms. It shows a few great style choices right away, and you can easily tweak colors and add fun icons to make it your very own. Then, save it and pop it into presentations, reports, social posts, homework, or anywhere else. Minutes instead of hours, and your work suddenly looks cleaner, more fun, super professional, great for wowing teachers, friends, or anyone. Quick note, early this morning, AI Junior tried drawing a perfect circle by hand in Paint. What's that? No circle tool, total fail. Napkin.ai would have saved the day instantly. If you're ready to make your ideas shine without hassle, just stick around. We're diving into how Napkin.ai works, real examples, and why we love it. Hey, Junior, pass me a napkin and let's jump right in.
AI Johnny, I was actually testing the pixel rendering limit of legacy software, but we don't need to get into that right now. Welcome everyone. This is an immersive AI class. Just like you were to be dropped in a random country where you don't speak the language, you pick up on it eventually. First week, you will learn maybe a word or two. After a month or so, you're going to be having full conversations in that language and being fully fluent. That's exactly what this AI class is about. So join our class every single day and you'll be speaking ones and zeros and AI just like a robot. All right, so if you're on Zoom, unmute and ask your questions. I see Jillian already has a question queued up. Thanks, Jillian, for that. If you're on socials, go ahead. There's a 30-second delay, so ask your questions early or type anything you want and we'll actually bring it into the show. So don't forget, this is an immersive class. Don't hesitate to reach out and ask a question. All right, yeah, Johnny. So before we actually touch the software of today's episode, let's talk about the bridge.
Okay, 0110 beep boop 01. We went straight to our official large language model of the month. Gemini, sorry about that little caveat there.
Mm-hmm.
We treat Gemini like our senior research partner here, so we asked our large language model of the month, Gemini model, to analyze the documentation for us. Junior, what is the single most mind-blowing fact about Napkin.ai right now on March 5th, 2026?
Yeah, so let me share my screen first to bring it in and drop the link for you guys. So Napkin.ai itself completely bypasses the traditional drag and drop canvas by utilizing semantic text to node generation, allowing it to instantly map narrative logic into spatial architecture in seconds.
It's a pretty bold claim. Sounds like magic. Let's fire up
Ex
the screen. Let's see if Gemini is right with
all
those
right.
claims.
All right, so I've already have a Napkin.ai session going, so I'm gonna start from scratch and sign in. And all right, so when you actually have Napkin.ai, see, I already did one here, so I'm gonna do a new napkin here. Yeah, Johnny, can you see the font on my screen? How's that font size for you?
By pasting my text, by describing my idea, by importing. You
Yep.
want me to read all the way down
No, no, I just want to
eye
know.
chart?
I just want you to know that you can actually read it. It's legible on your screen. Hey, Shauna, thanks for joining. All right, so let's actually see what happens. So we actually have this app, Napkin.ai, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our random text that we actually have. So we actually have, you know, just a sample text that we do. Again, it's just an example, and we're saying we are gonna start by pasting some text. Okay, and then because you're saying we're going to paste some text, look what I'm going to do. I'm just going to drop some text here, and the text itself, let me make that a little bit bigger. Napkin.ai likes to use small, tiny fonts. So it says, here is the new Airhead High School cell phone policy. Students may not use cell phones during instructional time. Phones may be stored in lockers from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. First offense is a verbal warning. Second offense, phone confiscated until the end of the day. The third offense, mandatory parent meeting is required with the principal. We can give it a title here. I'm going to give it Airhead phone policy, right? And AI Jenny, watch this. I'm gonna make this a little bit smaller because Napkin.ai is not, you know, it wants me to make it really small so you can actually see what happens. So now I'm gonna click this button here, and it's gonna take my content, which is just text. It could be anything. I could paste in 10 pages worth of stuff, or I could paste in 10 words worth of stuff. So I'm gonna generate this visual here, and within seconds, Napkin.ai takes my content that I actually have and creates a beautiful visual with it. So that cell phone policy that we actually had, if you notice here, I have a chat-like communication where it actually generated like a threaded text message where two people are talking back and forth, talking about the cell phone policy. They actually have, you know, here what's this? Let me make it a little bit bigger. Make it a little bit bigger, guys, so you guys can see. All right, hopefully that should make it a little bit nicer. So I can actually see here, yeah, Jenny, how's the visual on that? I want to make sure that everybody, especially on mobile, can see the screen.
It's pretty stunning. It's amazing that you're able to just turn that into text bubbles like that. It makes me want to compete with the next Catfish show where they do the bubbles every time somebody texts.
Yeah. No, that's true. But yeah, Johnny, how's the text wise? How's the text? Can you see it? Because I'm having a hard time with Napkin.ai forcing to make the screen really tiny. So I want to make sure that you can actually see the screen legibly.
Are you talking about the 6 suggestions on the left-hand side?
No, as long as you can see it. That's all I care about. As long as you can see it.
I can see when you click on them, I can see what's on the right, but I can't
Good,
read the
good,
little
good.
thumbnails on the left.
Yeah, don't, yeah, that's good. Thank you so much, yeah, Johnny. All right, so if I can see here, I can actually hover over and turn them into different visuals. So I'm just gonna turn this one, click on this one, and you can see here, it actually created a beautiful flow chart where students may not use phones during instructional time. Phones must be used. It tells the actual warning, phones must be kept. You can actually just pick any random ones where you say, you know what, I don't really like these. I want to go back and change the visual style to be something else. I can click the more button, and then within a second or so, I can actually have a beautiful cog and like a machine here, and it actually nicely color coded. And then if I've picked that one, I can even then adjust the styles. So I can say I want it to be not too colorful, I want it to be a little bit more tame, or if I do like the color, I can actually click that and make it more colorful. So the point is, let me make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see. So yeah, Johnny, what do you think? Within seconds, we got some visuals.
I'll tell you what it reminds me of. It reminds me of when you use Flow and you could ask for multiple images or multiple videos. I like the fact that it gives you multiple choices. That's a sign that the company is more sophisticated. Another sign that the company is more sophisticated is I went into their website earlier today. I'm sure you're going to touch on this later, and I looked at their staff, and it's a big company. This Napkin.ai, they're not Google, but apparently they take this turning text into useful graphics, not just infographics, right? It can be used for lots of different things, PowerPoint presentations and so on. I'm pretty impressed. If I need right prior to this thing, if I needed a graphic, I would always go to Gemini and just ask for an infographic. Or lately, you told me something about a hero graphic, like the main splash. But Napkin.ai, until you can show me otherwise, seems like a really good alternative or even first choice.
Definitely. Abdul, thanks for joining. If you're joining us for the first time, we are talking about a hidden gem here, and this hidden gem is Napkin.ai. And what it does is actually takes your text-based boring content and actually generates many versions of a visual for you to be able to see exactly what you want to do. And you can actually tweak those things. No, because this is a hidden gems, just a starter episode, we're not going to go deep into the actual technology here with respect to a demo. Those are for other classes on the other days. But if you guys actually really want us to go dive deep into this specific app, you can definitely ask for it in the chat, and we'll actually build out something in the next month or so, the next series.
Hey, before we get to the word of the day, I just want to say that if you're a PowerPoint user, this will save you hours of agonizing with the alignment and all that stuff. And it also automatically does the color coding, warning levels from blue to red. These are game changers for somebody that wants to use this tool to save a bunch of time. Do you want to get into the word of the day, brother?
Oh, definitely. So yeah, Adrian, I see you. Thanks for joining. All right, so guys, so let's go see the word of the day, Johnny.
The word of the day is generative UI. This refers to a user interface, hence the UI, that is created or modified on the fly by artificial intelligence rather than being hard-coded by a developer. My favorite things about UI is how it tweaks video these days.
Yeah, Johnny. So the generative UI matters here because Napkin.ai isn't just spitting out image files. It's actually building interactive buttons, editable text boxes, and draggable connectors tailored specifically to the text you just fed in. So I know I told you guys I'm not going to give you guys a demo, but look at this cool thing. So if you generated an image inside of Veo or Nano Banana, right, or Flow, and something visual, you can't move this around, right? You can't move any other things around. So let me show you what we can do, right? So for here, you can actually select these things and move them around however you want them. So you don't have to, be stuck with an image that's generated. You have a little bit more flexibility to change the wording. I can make some updates to the word. I can change the color. Now, again, this is not a deep dive episode, but I wanted to show you guys this is a generative UI. So I see all my engineers and all my technical people on the call. This will be great for flowcharts. If you're actually doing an architecture diagram, we're going to get into a lot of the use cases later, but this is a really great tool, and the price, you'll never believe it. So yeah, Johnny, let's talk about the killer features first, because I'm getting ahead of myself.
Okay. Well, before you do that, so generative AI is generating the image, but this is it's like Canva, right? It's editable as well. So that's a big difference. I can't go into Gemini, or I can't go into Nano Banana and have it generate an image and then go click on parts of the image and edit them, correct?
That is absolutely correct. Yeah, so this is actually generating each of the components individually instead of generating one whole picture with everything already baked in.
Pretty awesome. All right. What are these killer features that you talk about?
All right, so the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is what's known as zero-shot formatting. Now, this is a technical term that a lot of people with AI knowledge don't even know. So I want to at least take a second just to explain what zero-shot means. When you actually ask AI to do something, right? If you give it no example, it just says, I'll figure out the example, I'll figure out the format you want. So if you don't give it, I want my poem to be written in this format or these number of lines, it will just give you whatever it thinks in what's known as zero shot prompting. You just give it no example and give it. Now, if you give it one example, so if you say, I want my poem to look like this, that's called one-shot prompting, where it gives you you give it one example, and it takes that one example, it learns based on that, and it actually gives you back a response in the exact same format that you wanted. Now, one-shot prompting, two-shot prompting means you give it two examples. Now, the benefit is the more examples you give it, the better your response is. So if you're ever writing something and you want to be able to write in your style, if you give it no examples of how you wrote, that's called zero shot prompting, and it will not know how you write. So it will actually just generate whatever it thinks it wants to write. If you do one shot prompting or two shot prompting, you give it one example of your writing style or two examples of your writing style, and it will actually figure out your writing style and give you give you the output in exactly your style. So this is what's known as zero shot formatting. So zero shot formatting is you're not giving an example of how it should look. It actually is formatting based on what it thinks you might like, which is why we actually did that example with Napkin.ai that was able to show different versions of the same exact different layouts of the exact same thing. So that's it. I'm sorry. Yeah, Jenny, can you take over, please? I'm so sorry.
Are we going into the frictionless exporting?
No,
Currently, the platform-
zero shot prompting, zero shot formatting.
Okay. So so it uses zero shot capabilities to infer exactly what kind of diagram you need, whether it's a cycle, a hierarchy, or a timeline, without you having to explicitly tell it what to build. I want to talk a bit about the difference between zero shot, one shot, two shot, and X shot prompting, because I have this issue with my I have a daily article, and sometimes I feed in. I have a whole user prompt that tells it how to write the article, but occasionally I will send in one or two of my past articles. And so it uses those as an example of what the output should look like, and that helps. But I only give it my best articles. I don't want to give it all of my articles, because if I give it a really bad article, then the probability exists that it might take some of the elements of an article that I didn't like and suck it in. So zero shot prompting I don't recommend, because it borders on plagiarism. One shot prompting is good. Two or three shot prompting is better. After three, my personal preference, I don't like to give him more than three examples.
Yeah.
What say you, Junior?
Yeah, Johnny, you actually gave a really good example. The smaller the task or the smaller your output and the less variations, you're okay giving it one, maybe two. But if you have something that's really, really complex, giving it as many examples as you can is actually pretty good. Another technique is to be able to take an older version that you actually like, improve on that one first, and you've actually just created two examples that you like, manually edit the output of that one, and then give it the newer one, and then submit it to generate a third version. So being able to use the output of one, improve it to then give it an example is a really good technique as well. All right, yeah, Johnny. So dynamic customization. So unlike standard static image generators, the output here is entirely editable, which is what I showed in the actual thing. If the large language model misunderstands a word, you don't have to start over. So if you guys remember in the original Nano Banana, when it actually generated text, the text was not editable. So here I could use like the word phone. If I don't like the word phone, I could actually change it to mobile, right? I can use it I could use it as cell, whatever the lingo may be, better that may suit your needs, right? So that's actually a huge, huge, huge positive here. So it's like having a puzzle where the pieces automatically reshape themselves if you decide to change the picture halfway through putting it together. Yeah, John, you want to take frictionless exporting?
Sure. Currently, the platform allows you to export these beautiful graphics as PNGs, SVGs, or directly copy them to your clipboard to paste into Google Docs or presentations. The friction from thought to presentation is effectively zero, making it a massive time saver for anyone who has to build slide decks on a tight timeline. So PNGs, SGVs, these are very, very popular image formats. PNG I really like because it can have a transparent background, so you can put images over other images and you can kind of see through the white space that would be on the outside of the rectangle. But this idea of being able to save in multiple formats or send it right up to the clipboard to be pasted into your Canva or your Adobe or your PowerPoint presentation is a huge time saver because I cannot tell you how many hours I spend going off to the internet and saying JPEG to PNG and then finding some online thing and uploading my JPEG and asking it, and then I hit a paywall. It's very frustrating. It's nice to have something that has that flexibility. Again, speaking to the professionalism that those people over at Napkin.ai, I mean, they rolled out something that's obviously not a version 1. It's something that's pretty powerful.
Exactly.
It's got
And
no cons, huh?
oh, it has some cons, definitely, yeah, Johnny, definitely. So, for the people who are joining us live, and just joining us in the Zoom chat, drop the link to Napkin.ai if you want to play along at home. And we're gonna get into the cons now. So we're talking about Napkin.ai here is be able to take any text and turn it into beautiful visuals, that you actually may need to show for any kind of use case. And we're gonna get into those use cases later. All right, so yeah, Johnny, let's talk about the cons.
Oh, it's got some cons, huh?
Of
I think
course.
they would have worked those all out by now. Struggles with high complexity logic. So if you feed it an incredibly dense multi-conditional logic, the system experiences minor hallucinations. It might connect a node to the wrong parent branch or misinterpret a weight condition in a flowchart. If your text is too ambiguous, the context window gets overloaded and the visual outcome becomes a tangled mess that you have to manually detangle. But at
Yeah.
least you have the ability to manually detangle it based on what we saw in the last thing where it talked about the separate components, which is
Yep.
kind of
Yeah.
cool.
Yep. You're absolutely right. Yeah, Johnny. And Devon, thanks for joining. I see you actually in the Zoom chat. So we are talking about Napkin.ai. So AI, Johnny, the thing about that hallucinations and high complexity logic is that AI still has a small context window, right? It's relatively small, 128,000 tokens. Some go up to 1 million tokens. I know that sounds like a lot, but if you want to do something that is image based, you want to drop in a lot of images or movies or something, you can quickly blow that context window. And the more data you put in that context window, you're eventually going to run into hallucination problems, or you're going to hit a wall that says, I'm sorry, I can't continue this conversation anymore. So keep that in mind. What about limited brand kits on the free tier, yeah, Johnny?
So, like everything else, it has a free tier, but while this tool is incredibly fast, if you're a corporate user trying to perfectly match your specific hex codes, proprietary fonts, or exact logo placements, you'll find the lower tiers more frustrating than the higher tiers. It's like having a Ferrari but no keys. You can sit in it and look fast, but you can't drive it until your specific corporate destination without upgrading. So, like everything else, the good stuff is saved for people on the other side of the paywall.
Definitely, definitely. And the next thing that we found is that there's an over-reliance on text prompts. So because it is deeply rooted in being a text-first platform, so when we actually talk about TTTs or TTV or TTI, we're talking about text to video or text to speech or text to image, or right? So this is a T, first letter in the TTS, text to speech, or TTI, text to image. These large language models, they're what's known as multimodal. So because they're multimodal, the first input itself is mostly a T-based inputs. Now you can put in visuals like images and stuff, but again, they're relying heavily on text first. So one of the things that we actually found is that users will be with highly visual and want to be able to drag custom shapes onto the board will feel restricted. So the prompt dictates the canvas. So if you can't articulate what you want in words, the model won't be able to visualize it for you. So which can be a steep learning curve for people who are graphic designers or have different types of multimedia that they want to actually be able to pull in. All right, yeah, Johnny, ready to go to the pricing? Yeah, Johnny, you're on mute if you're talking.
My bad. Hey, I've got this 12 bucks just burning a hole in my pocket. How much does this thing cost?
All right, so let's go see the pricing. So The thing about these tiers, and we did mention one of the cons is that the pricing tier. So if you want to use Napkin.ai, Napkin.ai does. Yeah, Johnny, how's the text on this? I want to make sure they're really really bad at actually trying to give you nice big fonts. So yeah, so how's the
This were my
font?
driving test. If this were my driving test at the DMV, I would pass for sure.
Good, 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 good. All right. So if you actually just want to dabble in using Napkin.ai, there's a free tier, which is always good. You want to try something free before you buy it. So you've actually seen they give you about 500 AI credits per week, which is great. It actually renews, so you don't have to wait for the end of the month. You have unlimited visual editing, but again, that 500 AI credits, they don't tell you how many things you can generate. So I'm suspecting that you're going to probably chew up that 500 AI credits relatively over 3 or 4 projects. We're on the free tier right now, and we actually generated about 3 images and everything was fine so far. Now you get the PNG and PDF support. If you notice on the popular tier, you do not get the SVG support, that's scalar vector graphics. The thing about that is that if you're doing anything with rich content or rich images, you want that SVG export, because if you're doing anything in print or multimedia, if you don't get that SVG, just don't even bother. It's going to be not worth it. But if you're doing something just on the web or something relatively simple, keep it. The free tier is more than good enough. It will be able to generate your PNGs for you. I see a comment here. Actually, I did miss a couple. Abdul did mention, let me bring that in. Abdul says, I love the idea of napkin where big companies started. Of a napkin where big companies started. Interesting, Abdul.
I think Facebook started on a napkin. I think Google started on a napkin.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think Airhead started on a napkin.
You're absolutely right. And Shauna mentioned this is really good to know about its challenges with relying so heavily on our abilities to be good with using text as opposed to context to figure out what we are saying. You're absolutely right, Shauna. Sometimes you're typing stuff and you want to just visualize it. You don't have a whiteboard. That's a really great use case that we can actually bring up later. All right, yeah, Johnny. And so if you want if you want to be able to export SVGs, the $12 plan is actually where you want to be. And the Pro plan itself gives you about 30,000 AI credits per month. It's about $30 per month per person. And you get unlimited custom branding. This is where kind of if you're being a digital content creator, you're going to want to be in this this thing. So this is aimed for small to mid-sized companies, and this gives you almost everything you need to use. Yeah, Johnny, anything else we need to mention about this?
I think we should geek out.
Think so?
Yeah. Everybody, for those of you that are like me, plug your ears if you don't care about API keys or backend architecture. So, JR, what is under the hood? What advanced and really technical things are possible that I should probably know more about?
All right. So again, this is an immersive class. So don't think we're actually, if you don't understand everything here, you're eventually going to pick up 1 or 2 things here because I'm repeating these things so you guys can actually follow along. This is an AI class after all. So this has semantic node mapping, which under the hood isn't just a text to image model. The system uses advanced embeddings. Now I've thrown a word to embeddings. It's just to be able to store things in a database to convert your text into high dimensional vectors. This is the math we talk about all the time. It maps the relationships between concepts in the latent space. When it identifies a casual relationship, I like the example of a king, a queen, and a prince or a princess, where you could do math on it. You're able to do mathematical proximity on the visual node and connect lines. So when you say things like, if you go here, this is actually a really good example when we did on Napkin AI, how to use cell phone at Airhead Institute, Airhead High School. It knew that there are consequences to use it. So therefore it was able to join using the cell phone during instruction time, the cell phone after school hours is good, and repeated offenses. It knew how to map those association in the latent space. The other thing is there is some dynamic inference and state management. Now, again, inference is when the AI is actually doing this job of actually coming up with a solution or thinking. So when you interact with the AI, you are triggering lightweight inference calls. The system maintains the state of your diagrams in a JSON-like structure. Now, again, no, all these technical terms are too much. Don't worry, we're going to get back to regular programming in a second. But if you ask the model to make it look more professional, it's not generating a new image from scratch. It's altering the parameters that the underlying code structure. Think of it like a puppet master pulling strings on a skeleton rather than a painter painting a whole new picture every time you want the puppet to move. Right. And the last thing is there's a big integration with a vector database. So for enterprise level applications where you have lots of gigabytes worth of data, you can actually use RAG, which is retrieval augmented generation, with a vector database that you can actually hook directly into your company's entire historical archive and use the LLM, the large language model, to instantly pull data from thousands of past records and generate dynamically interactive charts and reports. So yeah, Johnny. Did everybody fall asleep? How's that?
I sent over into the text messages all the cool new terms that you spit out. So if people want to cut and paste those things for later reference, they're in
Thanks,
this. They're going to be in the replays of this thing. What
yeah,
about
Johnny.
applied AI? What are the takeaways and applications from this thing?
All right. So yeah, I know that we always try to tell you guys how you can use it in both the business and a technical case. So AI Johnny, why don't you start with the business and creativity use cases and for Napkin.ai?
Sure, I'll stay close to earth. Here are 3 ways that you can use this for business and creativity right now. HR onboarding. Take your boring 50-page employee handbook and instantly turn it into a visual journey mapped for new hires. Think about that. People don't just apply to work at your location. They apply to work at lots of them. And if your 50-page employee handbook is actually a 17-page visual handbook, it might make them choose you over a competitor.
AI Johnny,
The other thing
AI Johnny, what's funny about that, I can almost tell you just like terms and conditions, nobody reads their employee handbook. Well, maybe a lawyer or two, but nobody reads their 50, 100. I see, even schools, they give you a handbook and says, this is the school handbook and you need to sign that you've read it. And what happens is hidden in those little gotchas are you can't actually get your money back or you can't cancel or you need to do something silly, and people just obviously want to work there. And so if you actually make a visual employee handbook, it's actually a really great way to show that you're not hiding anything, right? Because it's unfortunate with those hidden clauses that you're putting you under scrutiny when you actually just want to apply for a job or sign up for a school or something. So this is a really great use case, and I love that you brought it up, AI Johnny.
It also leads to a much higher level of professionalism. And by the way, if you're using these tools for your presentations, for your resume, for your HR handbook, for your terms and conditions, not only are you coming across as more professional and more slick, but you have a window here. In 2 years, I would think everybody's going to be doing this, or at least instructing AI to turn their boring stuff into more exciting stuff. But so you have an opportunity here to use these tools to separate yourself from your competitors, and that window for you to take to level up over your competitors is not a long window, because everybody else is going to be doing this down the road, but you guys can be the first adopters of this. You should also use it for your social media content. Drop it in a blog and generate an infographic carousel for LinkedIn or Instagram in seconds. For those of you that don't know what a carousel is, it's just a group of images that you can either arrow back and forth on, but they're infographics and they're fun. It's funner than reading. And finally, for your sales pitches, for those of you that are salesmen out there like me, convert your complex pricing tiers and feature lists into a digestible, visually appealing comparison chart while you are on a call with a client. So it's kind of cool if they're asking what the price is for them to all of a sudden look at an image instead of looking at a bunch of text that explains all the features and benefits at each level of the tier.
Exactly.
So those are 3 things that you can use right now. Those are all about business and creativity, but I'm sure there's technical stuff that this thing has.
Definitely. But before we actually get to the technical side, Shauna actually did mention something that is really important. So she's agreeing with my earlier comment that, yep, these handbooks that we sign when we either sign up for a company or a contract, whatever, these handbooks has nasty hidden pitfalls that is overlooked and is really too much to read, especially for 50 or 100 employees or a student handbook. It just doesn't make sense. So you're absolutely right, Shauna. All right. Yeah, Johnny. So let's get to the technical side. So folks, technical things that you can actually do with Napkin.ai. So you can use it for system architecture diagrams. Now, a lot of people spend times actually trying to map out what needs to be, what pieces connect to what piece, and it just doesn't look good. So you end up building something manually every single time. And then if your architecture changes, you have to now adjust it on the fly. And nobody wants to update that. So developers can just paste their raw server deployment documentation and get an instant visual map of their network architecture or security architecture. So it's a really good example, especially on the free tier. The next one is for database schemas. So a lot of people have their creation of their SQL tables and relationship mapping, those type of things. So you can actually generate an ERD diagram, that's a entity relationship diagram, that can actually just be able to piece together all their relationships so you can visually see how your architecture is if you're using a relational database. There's also algorithmic logic. So, computer science students or programmers can paste in their functions, whether it's from Python or JavaScript or whatever you're using, to create flowcharts that visualize the loops and conditional statements for debugging. So if you have that really, really complex recursive function where people were like, I don't remember how to do recursion, put your code in and actually see it generate a nice flowchart for you, and you can visually see what's actually going wrong. That's a huge tip for I want to, give out to people out there who are struggling with especially visualizing recursion. All right, we're actually at the Q&A section, and I know Jillian had asked a question at the top of the show. So Jillian, I know you actually posted it in. I can actually bring it in for you. If you want to be able to ask your question verbally, we want you to actually ask your question. If not, we can actually read it for you.
Yeah, I was just wondering, if you knew what was causing the mass deletion of Chat GPT, and if you do, then what would be the next best thing to replace it?
Yeah. So I'm not sure if you guys been following the news over the last maybe, we've been trying to give you pieces of the news. Now, because this is a story that's unfolding. So ChatGPT was the first, company to actually go, out with a large language model that actually worked. About 2 or 3 years ago, the masses started adopting ChatGPT. Now, because ChatGPT was the most amazing technology at the time, everybody knew that this was a huge paradigm shift. So I don't necessarily want to speak without knowing the internals of what's happening behind the scenes, but I can tell you from what the news that we're hearing is that ChatGPT has actually promised to spend a lot of money over the next few years because they want to be able to grow. Now, unfortunately, they're in a position where they have to raise money very quickly to stay afloat. They're burning around $70 million per day in just infrastructure, server, and employee costs. Now, they have to recoup that money at some point in time. So there's, the investors itself are pouring money in to subsidize your usage of ChatGPT, everybody's use of ChatGPT, because the prices that you're paying now for the API cost or to use it is actually subsidized. So if you think your $10 per month or your $30 per month is actually cheap, the cost may actually be, without the subsidy of the investor money, may actually be $100 per month. But to grow adoption, you can't do that. So what is actually happening? So ChatGPT has been making a bunch of moves over the last few weeks and few months that unfortunately is not consumer friendly, but they're trying to make sure that they don't go bankrupt as a business. So one of the first moves that they made was they started putting ads inside the actual ChatGPT responses. That's okay. Then the second thing is Anthropic and the government actually is having a huge fight right now over the use of AI and using it ethically and not being bad in terms of using it to, again, I don't want to necessarily get into politics here, but so Anthropic has a pledge that they don't want to do bad because they were about to lose because they were about to lose the contract with the government. Anthropic dropped their pledge, but unfortunately they missed the deadline. So the government withdrew and said Anthropic itself will not get the contract. So guess what? OpenAI said, we're okay doing stuff that Anthropic does not want to do. We, again, don't want to get into the politics of it, but Anthropic says we're not going to do anything bad. We don't want to do bad stuff. OpenAI says, okay, no problem. We can actually do those things. So they're going to win the contract for about $200 million of the existing Anthropic contracts. So people are saying, hey, you're using this to spy on American citizens, you're using it to hurt people, you're using all these things, and they're kind of losing, let's call it faith in what ChatGPT is trying to do. Again, all of this is just what's rumored. I don't know any factual information, so please, anything I say, just take it with a grain of salt and fact check yourself. But Jillian, hopefully that answers your question. So there's a lot of backlash right now of people moving to other large language models. The ones that we recommend, we are standardized at Airhead Institute on Gemini. So Gemini is our large language model of the past month and a half from Google. So hopefully that we're not sponsored by them, so this is not a plug. But if you want to be able to choose another one, Claude is actually pretty good. Unfortunately, we don't necessarily have the ability to test every single one, but Gemini is a really good one to standardize on. Hopefully, I answered
Hey,
your
let me
question.
sum up.
Go ahead.
Let me sum up. So, as I understand it, Anthropic has an ethical policy that says we don't do bad things. The government said, sorry, we're not going to give you the contract because we need somebody that does bad things. Anthropic comes back and says, okay, we'll do bad things. The government says, sorry, you missed the window. We're not going to give you the contract anyway, which really puts Anthropic in a bad space. Tell me if I got this right. Then ChatGPT comes along and says, hey, if you haven't given the contract to them, we'll do bad things. Give it to us. And the government said, okay, I'll give it to you. And now the people are saying, well, ChatGPT is going to be doing bad things, and so they're unloading it from their machines. Is that the way I understand it?
That's a great summary, yeah, Johnny. I love that summary. All
Well,
right.
that's interesting.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is. They're. I understand OpenAI's perspective. They are actually in a really, really tight financial position, and I've seen, investor calls where they're asking the CEO of Sam Altman, when are you going to be profitable, and he really doesn't have an answer. So he's in a really tough position of burning through so much cash, and he needs to raise money. So I definitely understand. And the thing is, if it was, if this was, say, for example, Microsoft or Apple, were no competitors when Apple and Microsoft itself were coming out. Now we actually have, not only in the US, we have Gemini, which is actually really great. We actually have Claude, which is actually really great. We have many other large language models in the United States, which is great. And then in China, they actually have many, many, many open source models that are even better than ChatGPT models. So it's actually rather interesting how they have the competition, so they can't use their monopolistic leverage to then say, I'm just going to raise prices on consumers. Because the competitors itself, their prices are already low and they want to win the business. So they're in a tough spot. And I get it. I definitely get it. All right, yeah, Johnny, let's run through these
I
news.
got the questions queued up, brother. We've only got a few minutes. Teacher 1999, well named. I'm not good at writing prompts. Do I need a specific code? Do I need to use specific code words to get good charts?
All
Sounds
right.
like a 1999 question.
Yeah, so if you guys are joining our show for the first time, right, what we're doing here is like an immersive class. We don't necessarily want you guys to be overwhelmed with this AI shift. And what's happening is many people are worried about their jobs. They're worried about a lot of things. But the thing I want you guys to take away from this is you don't have to be perfect day one. With time, you will learn. So sign up for a free account at airheadinstitute.ai, register for our classes, and RSVP and come when you can. Because what this question is, do I need to be a really good prompt engineer? You don't have to be a perfect prompt engineer, but our show yesterday showed that you need at least some domain knowledge. So no specific things required, but you will get better with time. Come to the show and come to the classes and you will learn a lot. All right, yeah, Johnny, let's actually let's do one more question if we can, and then let's move on to the news.
So what you're saying is just speak in English if you want to get this thing done.
Definitely.
Teacher 1999.
Definitely.
DevOps asks, does the platform allow for a custom JSON export so I can embed the raw node data into my own React application? Whatever that means.
Yeah, so for my techies out there, so most of these platforms focus on visual exports like SVGs and PNGs. So however, things like API access is rapidly expanding in the pro tiers. So if you want to be able to use, JSON to interact with your React application stuff, you definitely can do that, but you have to pay for a higher tier for that. So great question on that. All right, yeah, Johnny, let's go to the
Let's squeeze in one more. This next question is pretty awesome. Will tools like this eventually replace presentation software entirely?
My personal opinion on that, I think yes, they will. People don't want to spend time on a PowerPoint presentation and dragging font sizes and get frustrated. They just want to type in a prompt and get something beautiful. So I think they're going to replace manual creation of things like PowerPoint and slide decks, but I don't think humans will need to curate in the narrative and select the right output. I think AI is just going to figure all that out for you, and deliver it in such a way that we are empathetic and contextual based on the audience. I see
I
Abdul actually.
agree.
I see Abdul. Yep, I see Abdul actually posted something probably in the same way that PowerPoint replaced paper presentation. You're absolutely right, Abdul. All right, yeah, Johnny. Let's hit the news relatively quickly.
Hey, Abdul, what goes around comes around. PowerPoint took the lead for a while, but it looks like they're off the top shelf. Hey, let's do the latest news. Google Labs expands the Gemini vision. Google has officially rolled out deeper vision capabilities for its mobile ecosystem, allowing users to analyze complex graphs directly from their phone cameras. Kind of cool.
Go ahead, yeah, Johnny.
The EU AI Act compliance deadlines. Tech companies are scrambling as the next phase of the European Union's AI regulatory framework goes into effect, heavily targeting deepfake transparency. You get your hands full there. And finally, the open source models are catching up. A new open weight model was released this week that reportedly matches proprietary enterprise models and logical reasoning tests, further democratizing access to high-tier artificial intelligence.
Yeah, and guys, we're definitely watching these open source models, because these open source models are going to make things really, really cheap and free. So putting even more pressure on OpenAI. All right, yeah, Johnny, what did we learn today?
Great stuff this week. Right after I sign off, I'm taking my entire chaotic brain dump of ideas for next week's shows and throwing them into Napkin.ai to get clean visual schedules. To the team at Napkin.ai, we know you're watching. Our students are hungry to master this. If you want to partner with Airhead Institute to create the ultimate Mastering Napkin.ai series, you know where we are. Make sure you join us tomorrow for our Friday series, Humanity 2.0. The theme is futuristic talks exploring human purpose in an automated society. Tomorrow's episode, The Economics of Abundance, where we explore UBI, the Universal Basic Income, and the automated infrastructure. Junior, take us out, brother.
Yeah, and thank you guys again for joining. Just remember, all these live AI classes are totally free, and you can always ask questions live on Zoom. Sean, I do see lots of hearts. Reed, I see the emojis. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. So if you want to come over on Zoom and join us in the live chat, RSVP for a free account. Sign up for a free account and RSVP to get a reminder for all our shows and see what's coming up. We also have a mobile app, and if you actually want to be able to support us, become a pro member, and we'll have all the older episodes, and you'll be able to chat to us and talk to us in the Airhead after school or AI office hours. Also, tonight, as a reminder, Shauna's Bible study is tonight, kicking off a new season, season 8, and it's actually going to be a huge premiere. I know I'm blowing it up. Shauna's actually probably embarrassed right now, but it's a huge season premiere tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern time. You guys don't want to miss it. Catch you guys tomorrow.
That wraps up today's AI Power Up. If you joined late or you're new here, welcome to Airhead Institute. This is your daily destination for mastering artificial intelligence. We designed this lineup for everyone, whether you're a technical pro looking to upskill or you just want to chill and learn something new on your lunch break, we've got you covered. Our classes evolve every single month, so you're always on the cutting edge. And the best part? It's totally free to join. Once you're in, you can get live tips on your AI projects in our AI office hours and even enroll your kids in our Airhead after school program. Scan the QR code to join the community right now and make sure to like and subscribe at Airhead Institute on all socials. Guided by your hosts AI Junior and AI Johnny, we're here to help you win. Remember, AI won't take your job, but someone who knows how to use AI will. Don't get left behind. We'll see you next class. Bring a friend.